What's up, guys? Dr. Danny Matei here with Athletes Potential and Mobility One. And one of the most common questions that I get from my patients, people that attend seminars that we teach, and then online via social media is, hey, what position should I sleep in because my back hurts whenever I wake up, my neck hurts when I wake up, or my shoulder hurts whenever I wake up? And what we tend to see is the position you put yourself in all night long. In many cases, it's hard to stop yourself from getting in certain positions, and whatever position you start in may not be where you end, but that position could be a poor place for you to be, for your tissues to be all night long, and could be creating some of or all of your problem. So I want to take this as an opportunity to talk about the positions that I see from kind of worst to best, some options you have to block yourself into positions, as well as highlight a product that I've had my patients use for a long time and that my wife and I sleep on as well, and that's the Performa Sleep mattress. So it's a foam mattress. I think this is interesting, the technology differences that are out there now compared to a spring coil mattress. It's like night and day. And if you're still sleeping on a mattress like that and you're having back pain when you wake up in particular, or any type of spinal pain, you really need to look at a different type of mattress, and I'll kind of explain why as I go through these different positions. So first of all, the position that we see most people in that we want to get them out of is sleeping on your stomach. So if you sleep on your stomach, you are putting your back in particular in a very, very poor position all night long. In particular, your neck, I should say. So when we sleep on our stomach, our head gets turned to the side with the pillow here, and what you have to look at is what's happening at the joints of the spine, in particular in the neck. So when we put ourselves in this position for let's say 7 to 8 hours a night, you're basically closing down the joints on this side of the neck. So what if you sat all day at your office and you just looked at a computer screen that was to the side, and you did your work like this all day long? You would have a significant problem with your neck. So now imagine doing that, but laying on it in that position with all of your body weight and the head of your weight and the upper portion of the trunk pushing your head into a rotated position. The other thing is you have to look at, could you sleep in that position if you were sleeping on the ground somewhere? And if you've ever gone camping, it's very, very uncomfortable to sleep in that position. In many cases, sleeping on your side is uncomfortable, and really the most comfortable position is sleeping on your back. And if you've never experienced that, sleep on your ground, like sleep on a carpet, and try to sleep on your stomach and see how that feels. You're not going to last too long there, and your face will probably go numb. You probably have rib pain. It's not a comfortable position. So we don't want to do that on a mattress because it can give you the ability to do that, but it is not a healthy position for our back. So what's the easiest transition? So let's say you're listening to this right now and you're thinking to yourself, I've been sleeping on my stomach my whole life. I'm screwed. Now what do I do? Well, the easiest thing to do is to transition you to a side sleeper. Okay, so side sleeping is significantly better than sleeping on your stomach, especially if you set yourself up in the right way. So if you are a side sleeper, and some of you, maybe that's your preferred position to sleep in, my advice for you is to not have a coil mattress. It's going to be more firm, and to actually get a foam mattress, something like the Performa Sleep mattress, because it's going to contour the body much better. So imagine sleeping on your side on a hard surface. The body is going to get pushed into positions through the coil that's not going to give as much. A foam mattress actually kind of sinks in around the body more, and allows there to be more of a natural contour and neutral position in the spine for the most part. So when you sleep on your side, what's important to look at is what's happening with the neck, and then what is happening at the pelvis. So when we sleep on our side, what we want to think about is trying to maintain the head in a neutral position. Okay, so if I have a pillow that's really thick and it's pushing my head up, this is really not much better than me sleeping on my stomach. And if I have a pillow that's really thin and my head is getting tipped the other direction, then same thing. I'm now in this kind of weird out of midline position, which you don't necessarily want to sleep in. So when you sleep on your side, you want to try to find a position where your head is relatively in neutral, okay? So if your head is in neutral, then you shouldn't have to do anything weird with your hands. If your head is not in neutral, so let's say the pillow is too flat, what you're going to do is probably put a hand underneath your head, or a hand underneath the pillow and underneath your head to try to block that into position. But if we think about this, now we've spent all night long with our arms like this, just to keep our head in neutral. What we'd really like to do is for our arms to be relaxed at our side. And especially on a softer, a foam mattress, your shoulder will be able to sink in easier and still stay in a very neutral position. Versus a spring mattress, that shoulder tends to roll forward and it gets pushed forward in the socket all night long. Hence, we see issues with side sleepers, shoulder pain, they sleep on coil mattresses. The other thing is what's happening at the pelvis. So let's say I've got my neck in neutral. Well, if I'm laying on my side, tendency is I usually like hang a leg over. Very rarely are you gonna have people stay like this because the bones in their knees will actually kind of touch together. So they'll kind of hang like this, or they'll sleep in this kind of like pseudo low crawl position, as if you're kind of crawling across the ground and you're in the army. We want to block you out of that position as best we can. Now, if you have to block yourself in a position with 7 pillows, that's a problem in its own right. There's more issues going on there. Ideally, we don't want you to have more than 2 because that's feasible, 1 ideally, but if you have to block your legs, this is the best way to do it. So you're actually going to take this, we call this the side sleeping kind of fetal position, and you want to take another pillow and put that between the legs to keep that leg and pelvis in neutral. So now this position, I've got my head in neutral, I've got my legs in neutral, and I've got my arms just kind of hanging out at the side, and I'm good. I can be in a really simple, positive position for a long period of time and not have any shoulder, neck, or lower back issues associated with that. So if you're a back sleeper, move to your side. If you're a side sleeper and you can move to becoming a back sleeper, that is my advice to you. And one of the ways to test this is actually to see, is your mattress too firm for you? Because what we tend to see in the athletic population in particular, you train, you work out, you do squats and deadlifts and all those good things. Well, you start to develop a posterior chain, meaning glutes and hamstrings, in particular glutes. And when you have a butt, when you have glute development, if you sleep on something that's very firm, it pushes your back into a more extended position. So imagine if you're sleeping on your back and you actually have some hip development, and that's a firm mattress, it's actually going to push our back into a little bit of an extended position, and you'll notice that your stomach will pop forward more. It's going to anteriorly pelvic tilt us. If it's a softer mattress, a mattress that can kind of receive your weight, you should be able to hang here for a good solid couple minutes and not feel like you need to move. The biggest variances that we see is people that are sensitive in this position, they'll tuck a leg under and they'll drop a knee out to the side, or they'll cross a leg over the other side. So if you cross a leg over or tuck your leg out to the side, either side, just to find comfort, it's because you're sensitive to the extended position of your back. So if you don't want to go and get another mattress and you still feel that sensitivity in that position, then you need to take a pillow and actually put it underneath your knees. So if you do this, now we can take ourselves and put ourselves into a little bit more of a flex position. Our butt tucks under a little bit, almost as if we're in a posterior pelvic tilt, and we can really get some variation of a slight traction on our back all night long, which is really healthy for those of us that spend a long time in an extended position or you're extension sensitive because you spend a lot of time pulling on a barbell, doing Olympic lifts, powerlifting, CrossFit, some sort of strength training, to where you've developed a lot of strength in these areas. So when you look to sleep, you need to really understand that your anatomy, you might have changed it a little bit compared to the general population who maybe is not quite as muscularly developed through their posterior chain. Okay, so if you're sleeping on your back, 1 pillow, try to keep that head in neutral. Don't let it tip back too far, because if you do, then you're going to have issues with extension sensitivity at the neck. If it's too thick and your head is up like this, you're going to have issues with flexion sensitivity at night. We want your head in as neutral position as we can. We want our back in a neutral position, and ideally, if we can sleep on our back, that's the healthiest position for us. And the last thing really is when we're on our back, what do we do with our arms? Well, ideally, we should be able to keep our arms out to the side and sleep like this without having much of an issue. If your head and neck are in neutral, they should just sink back and you should be fine. If you have to put your arms here, what you might want to think about doing is making sure that neck is in neutral. Keep your hands overlapped on top of each other. We just don't want to end up in a position where we're essentially like crossing our arms, because that can create some sensitivity at the shoulder and the elbow downstream. And if your fingers start to go numb during the night, you might want to look and make sure you're not doing that if you're sleeping on your back. All right, so in summary, stomach, no go. Lower back or sleeping on your side is much better. If you're going to, put a pillow in between your knees, keep your head in neutral. Ideally, if you can move to your back, then let's do that. And if you haven't gotten a new mattress in a while, check out the Performa Sleep mattresses. That's what this one is. These are their pillows. These suckers have been a game changer for my wife and I. I sleep like a baby, and I used to wake up in the morning and have not terrible lower back pain, but definitely I would have back pain every morning that would go away after about 10 minutes of moving around. And I haven't had that since I've switched and actually started using a mattress like this. So take a look at it. If you're interested in getting a mattress, take a look at Performa Sleep. You can use the code DOC100 and you'll save $100 off whatever mattress you want and get free shipping. Guys, give it a try. Try these positions here. Let us know if you have any questions. We'd love to hear some feedback, and thanks for watching.